Welcome back there. This is Liam Drosky of Business Central YouTube channel and also on Rumble. I'm noticing a lot of people spouting some of the truth, but not all of them. But according to the mission and analysis I've been doing, research, there's a lot of these dot connectors are compromised. Of course, they'd be pretty much talking about the great and a lot of other bunch of other folk, and a lot of people are just absolutely falling hook, liner, sinker for their dribble, and nobody is really addressing the real crux of the problem and the root cause, as we're witnessing the destruction of the American dream, the destruction of a great country as a whole. And they're all just falling all over each other, trying to expose who's a heretic and stuff about Steven Anderson, Robert Breaker. If they're true believers, why are they still focusing on the philosophy of Nimrod, Semiramis, and Tammuz, and still going on this Sunday worship there? Well, the fact is, with three corporations actually run the world, along with their known as the City of London, Washington D.C., and Vatican City. And the evidence is all over. There you can see all the obelisks that have been erected, and the world events, most which are engineered, leave a trail that leads to the architects. We next discover that there are actually three cities on the earth that come under no national authority, and they have separate laws, and they pay no taxes. How is that possible? And they have their own police force, and even possess their own flag of independence. These three cities are actually these three cities control the economy, military onslaughts, and the spiritual beings of those end powers. These three cities are actually corporations, by and large, and they are actually the City of London, District of Columbia, Washington, D.C., and the Vatican. Together, they control politicians, the courts, the educational institutions, the food supply, natural resources, foreign policies, economies, the media, and the money flow of most nations, as well as 80% of the world's entire wealth. Their ultimate aim is to build a totalitarian rule on a global scale, where people will be divided into rulers and ruled after, that they have depopulated the world to numbers they wish to rule over. And what we need to understand is that the world does not work according to what we have been led to believe. We are just drowning in misinformation. We're just drowning in an ocean of misinformation, by and large. And at the center of each city are giant palaic-shaped stone statues called obelisks. Now, like an image, like the London obelisk, known as Cleopatra's Needle, located on the banks of the River of Thames. And this obelisk was transported to London and erected in 1878 under the reign of Queen Victoria. The obelisk originally stood in the Egyptian city of On, or Heliopolis, which is the city of the sun, S-U-N. The Knights Templar land extended to this area of Thames where the Templars had their docks. Either side of the obelisk is surrounded by a sphinx, and more symbolism dating back to the ancient world. Now this brings me to the D.C. The obelisk, which is known as the Washington Monument, was dedicated to George Washington by a secretive brotherhood of Freemason Grand Lodge of the District of Columbia in 1848. And he also contributed 22 Masonic memorial stones and like 250 Masonic lodges finance the Washington Monument obelisk, including the Knights Templar Masonic Order. Now, the City of London houses the Rothschild-controlled Bank of England, Lloyd's of London, the London Stock Exchange, all British banks, the branch offices of 384 foreign banks, and 70 United States American banks. Now, Fleet Street's newspaper and publishing monopolies, and like a headquarters for the worldwide Freemasonry, headquarters for the worldwide money cartel known as the Crown. And like it's obvious that all these stock sectors are all pointing to the lower levels or the mid levels of this pyramid structure, and like they'll just point out it's either the Illuminati or the Builder Group or the Club of Rome, or pointing out these think tanks that operating her, and they're not really going above there, which is the Vatican, the Club of Rome, the Crown, City of London. Now, the City of London is controlled by the Bank of England, a private corporation owned by the Rothschild family after Nathan Rothschild crashed the English stock market in 1812 and took control of the Bank of England. Of course, the Queen refers to the City of London Corporation as the firm, but it is known as the Crown, not representing the royalty of Britain. And Buckingham Palace is in London, but not in the City of London, and the city is not part of England. And together, they have been responsible for global warming, climate change, by creating an environmental catastrophe and winning the Nobel Prize, that they have created a public awareness for a global government, and that gives them a right to take action over national governments, known as the UN United Nations Agenda 21. Now, a closer look at this clauses it's a closer look at its clauses, will reveal how people will need to be get will need to get permission for everything they do. In other words, it is about being used to control people. Number two is like a federal banking system, which the Fabian Society created the Federal Reserve Act in 1913, handing over the United States economy to a cartel of international financiers. Number three, that will be Big Pharma, which it is responsible for drugging the entire third world. And number four, which is like alarming, is the system of local government promoting devolution and a new concept of regional councils in the bid to increase a revenue generating system. It is within an overall plan to abolish independent sovereign national governments. Of course, like Britain is divided in 9 separate regions of the EU, European Union. The British will be shocked to discover that the EU laws takes precedence over British laws, and if they have tiny doubts, they need to ask why the Queen and the British Prime Ministers have signed treaties handing over power. Number 5 was like abolition of private property rights. In 1974, at the Habitat Conference, private property was identified as a threat to peace and equality of the environment. Now, using environmentalism as employed, the quest was to take over the Earth's resources and place it under a central authority like a UN and issue licenses for payment. And who owns the UN? The same banking families. In 1987, the World Wilderness Congress was held, organized by the Rothschild World Conservation Bank, which was set up the same year. The World Bank is likely to be replaced by the World Conservative Bank, and the aim is to break down national banks, and assets will also be diverted to the new bank, which is why there is an aim to merge currencies into 2 or 3 major currency groups and replace them with a new electronic currency, which is said to be called the Earth Dollar. Now, New Zealand has apparently transferred over 34% of its land area to the UN heritage areas and conversation parks, and these will be all owned by the same banking families. Of course, in 1982, the UN Conference on Environment and Development in Brazil was chaired by Gorbachev, responsible for dividing the Soviet Union, and Maurice Strong, the Rothschild London agent, and the topic was Agenda 21, which gave man rights superior to animals. Fish, plants, trees, and forests. And number 6, is most alarming law, is the Patriots Act, a human rights bill, the European Union Constitution, and the Security and the Prosperity Partnership are all being manipulated to place power in the control of the few hands. And their plans are plotted annually through the Bilderberg Group. And their agents run numerous think tanks that steer government policy, which are funded by the banksters, who are in real terms run the world. These 13 banking families that run the world control the central banks of the world that print money, give loans on interest, and explains how national debt never decreases. In an economic crisis, oil crisis, simply to increase prices. Of course, Arab Springs are all manufactured as are wars. And there is a saying that all wars are bankers' wars. The danger is when it comes to the food as control is being placed under Monsanto and the GMOs. And Monsanto is the same company that introduced Agent Orange. Therefore, it is worthwhile reading the UN codes evidence and impending dangers, which be the link in the description in the article there. And this is all right out the open there. It's discussed by very few people. And not even the dot characters even mentioning that. This is William Trotsky. You might need to shake the money tree. I can share this video far and wide. If you're looking ways to earn money from home, check out my website, dumbexpert.com or Private Wealth Focus.